Hello, hello. All right. So we have an impromptu discussion with Foodshops tonight. I don't know what on earth that name is about, but they seem nice. So I don't know how long that'll go for. I don't even know what we're talking about. So this will be interesting. Let's find out where we're doing this. Okay, ready to roll. Where are we doing this? No monkey tonight, I'm sorry. How's it going? I feel dreadfully sick, but a little less dreadfully sick than yesterday, so... We're still not going to stream super long tonight. I think it will just be the conversation. We'll see how I'm doing. If I'm like, if I got a second win at the end of this, I will consider doing a segment, but... We'll see. I promised Foodshops a conversation before I got COVID, so... I think I'm well enough now, so we're gonna fulfill that. I'll chat, okay. What is that? I see, alright. Alright, here we go. Let's pop on virtual camera. Hello,
Hello?
hello.
Yes, hold on. Let me drag you to the secret aisle.
Sure. Sweet, okay. Hang on, let me... Oh, I don't want to share my screen. I want to turn my camera on. And I want to pop that out. Are you okay with being on stream yourself on my end?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
That's my common practice.
It is.
Okay.
I just wanted to ask to make sure. Okay, why is that cut that way? That is so weird. Hang on, give me a sec.
Yeah, no problem. Let me see that everything is set up correctly. Are you streaming right now?
I am indeed.
Yay!
I think I'm going to actually...
Oh, man. I've been on, like, a talk / debate / interview marathon.
Almost every
for,
day
like,
I've been noticing. You talk to, what's her face? Trans Voices? I can't remember her full name. Music person. You talked to her recently. No? I thought you did.
No, I did not talk to Ziana.
Ziana. Somebody
Yeah,
no, Cherry talked to Ziana. Sorry, I don't know how I mixed the two up.
Okay, maybe perhaps Cherry did, but I can do what Ziana does though. Like for example, I can do this, but yeah. But I did talk to Dylan Burns
It's an impressive
yesterday,
range.
and I'm thinking.
That's who you talk to. I knew you talked to somebody with a following.
Yeah, but I am talking to Brianna Wu tomorrow. Why?
Oh, I'm just jealous.
Jealous.
So jealous.
Is it because she ran for office 2 times?
Yeah, exactly. Her accomplishments are just too intimidating to me.
Too intimidating, but aren't you like a person of great accomplishments as well?
Not yet. At least my accomplishments are not known by the common man, but someday.
Gotcha. Sunday, I actually did not come with any subjects to talk. I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. No.
I was almost
Sunday,
relieved.
Yeah. Almost what?
I was almost relieved.
Almost relieved? No, I'm joking. I actually did not come with any subjects whatsoever, to be honest. But see, that's the part of my talent, is that I am a very good improviser. With Dylan Burns, I also did not come with any subjects, but I managed to come up with 2 hours worth of conversation. You are President Sunday, and you came from Keffel's community, is that correct?
God, no. Are you kidding?
Wait, did you?
No. I'm actually, I'm not on fantastic terms with, Keffels or that crowd at the moment. I'm friends with Demon Mama, but I had beef with her too at one point.
Demon Mama. I keep on confusing Keffels with Demon Mama because
What,
they're
are they all
so
the same?
similar. Yeah, I feel like all transgender women are all the same.
Well, that's just sad.
You know, somebody once said I was like Demon Mama, after I appeared on Kick or Keep, and I felt I'm just gonna say this right now. I felt insulted, but it is what it is. But also, are you still on good terms with Demon Mama after?
I'd say very good terms with Demon Mama.
Oh, that's
We
wonderful.
Yeah, we beefed a couple years ago. We're friends now, so
Okay,
yeah.
that's great. Are you on good terms with people like Vosh? Like, since you're part of the leftist sphere?
Not because I'm part of the leftist sphere, but I'm on friendly terms with Vosh. I think he's a decent guy, all things considered. I get along with him pretty swimmingly.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
And when did you start content creation again? Can you remind me?
Whew. It was before the COVID pandemic, I think. So that's actually a good question. Hang on, let me see. When is my earliest?
Hold on, I just want to address a chatter real quick, okay? Somebody in my chat,
Okay.
some retard,
Oh, we
okay,
don't
all
use
right?
that word here.
Okay, um
Some
brains,
exceptional individual. Continue.
some exceptional individual who is absolutely, can I say remedial?
Just call him a dum dum.
Okay, a dum dum. All right, some absolute octopus brained. All right, hit over the bucket when they were 2 years old. All right, slipped on an octopus leg, fell on top of the pier into the water at 200 miles per hour. All right, said that open panels were more exciting and more productive and was better content than talking to President Sunday. All right,
I don't know who's hosting it.
insanity.
It's
Don't worry about it. All right, it's nobody that you need to concern yourself over. All right.
all right.
Yeah. And okay. Anyhow, right. So I'm just wondering, like, because I know that you do theory and you do philosophy. And I know that every single video that you do has this kind of bar where once people donate enough money, I think $100 or so, is
It's
it?
$100. That's just
It's a
recent.
hundred
I've only been
dollars.
doing that for a couple weeks.
That's insane. So every stream, and how often do you stream? Like every day?
I try to. Since COVID, it's been a little bit on the slow end. So,
Okay, so you must make an insane amount of money then, right? Like $100 every single time for people to get you to read theory.
uh, I do okay for a channel that does theory. Um, I would definitely not say I make a ton of money. I think I probably pull about as much as my house cleaning job before I stream. So I'm probably pulling in about uh between $25 and $3,000 a month right now. Um,
Jesus,
but
that's
that's fickle though, right? It goes away really fast. So if I stop streaming for a few days, like I did when I was sick, my income from ad revenue goes down from about like 1,600 on average to under 1,000. So that goes really fast. So you have to keep the treadmill turning.
exactly. But you know, it's still, God, I wish I was earning that much. Holy crap. Um, no, I'm not earning at all. But
I mean,
but like the thing
it's
is,
Canadian, so if you want to earn that much, you could probably just work at Walmart or something.
yeah, yeah, true. But like, oh my God, I mean, content creation as a job is like, that's legendary stuff. You know what I mean? Um, you, I mean, okay, why do people pay you $100 to read specifically theory? Because I feel like when people think of theory specifically,
Hmm.
I think of the most boring, dry philosophy I could ever think of that people will never apply in day-to-day life, you know. Maybe in the most like fringe of fringe scenarios, like some politician, like before bedtime, they'll fall asleep like to it, you know, and then that's it. And if they try to like read it to their wives, like their wife will also go like, you know, Harvey, you know, I told you the 13th time, you know, I don't want to listen to this. people are paying you to $100 for you to skip to theory. That's crazy. And
It's a mystery.
Usually most of the time people would pay you to $100 to get to like reaction videos or something. If I was doing your stuff, I would be reading theory first, and then once you get to $100, like how do you do that?
Well, I actually, my channel started off doing theory stuff, and people would complain all the time about me covering drama. And drama could just be, like, reacting critically to some other theory channel. So, I didn't even do much drama back then, actually, by comparison to now. So, people like that material. That's largely my base, I think. I'd like to think it's because I'm reasonably good at it, but I have no idea. There's just not a lot of content like that on here, I think. There's, most people have sort of gone away from doing, difficult political topics. They'll do, like, panels, and they'll talk about, like, news stuff and whatnot, but there's not a whole lot. Certainly not, that's of a lefty bent that does, like, dedicated theory streams or theory essays or things like that. And I try to keep it from being boring. I try to relate it to stuff that's interesting, so I've got some, like, I haven't done one in a long time, but I used to do videos where I would sort of do like a Carl Schmitt nomos analysis of like video games and whatnot. People like those. So.
I see.
Yeah.
And for stuff like theory and etc., right? Like I feel like, at least to me, when a lot of leftists tell you to read theory, I feel like they actually haven't read anything. Do you also feel that way?
I'd say it's a fair bet with a lot of them. Leftists do definitely read theory. I don't think telling people to read theory makes a lot of sense by itself. That's like, read what theory in particular. You could technically read someone like Evola, and that would be technically some kind of theory, and that's not particularly helpful. It seems when a lot of people say read theory, they mean read Lenin or somebody, which is fine, but that's not. I don't see how telling people to do that as a condition of being a productive part of the left is particularly useful. So.
I see.
Yeah.
So, as an avid theory reader, have you read every single book that is in your background?
I've read a little bit of every single book that's in my background. I probably have read about a third fully. I've read a lot of them. I don't think there's a single one here that I haven't read at all. But that's like years and years of accumulation. So.
I see. I see. Sunday, I
Sorry.
have. Yeah.
No, sorry, I just lost my queen. Continue.
Okay. Sunday, I have a particular question.
Sure.
Where does your name come from?
There is a novel by G.K. Chesterton called The Man Who Was Thursday, and there's a character in it who is the president of the Anarchist Council of Days called Sunday. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
Weird book, but worth reading. It's short.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna take this conversation in a different direction now.
Okay.
All right.
Go for it.
And
Oh, while we're on that topic, why on earth are you called food shops? And what is a food shop?
Yeah, don't you mean food stamps? I'm kidding.
It
seems like... No, I'm
people
kidding.
call
I'm
you
kidding.
food stamps?
No. People seem to love calling me food stamps ever since it's a name to also make fun of me, right? Much like how people also make fun of you, right? But it's like I think at some point it's funny because people like calling food stamps more than food shops at this point. And I've seen one in particular that is creative, and they said fish poop. I've never heard of that one in particular before.
I think
but...
food stamps, if you're doing YouTube for a living, is probably a little too close to home. I know it certainly would be for me.
Yeah, especially. But yeah, back in the day, I had a Steam friend named Fruitshops, and we played Borderlands 2 together, and I changed my name to Foodshops to Twin. That's it.
Oh, all right.
Yep.
Okay,
It's something as cute and simple as that. That's it.
fair enough.
Yep. Um, so your content seems to be it may be, a lot of it is covering drama and theory and stuff, but a lot of it seems to also orient itself around a particular streamer
Oh yeah.
um named Destiny. And
Does it? Hang on. How many videos do I actually
yeah,
have on Destiny? Let's see here.
you have a good number. And especially calling out Destiny and surrounding him. And would you call yourself a Destiny fan?
Not in the strictest definition.
Not in the strictest definition.
Let's see. So I think my last edited video on Destiny is from 3 months ago, unless I've skipped over one. And my last live stream on Destiny, I think that would have been more recently. That would have been the playing with fire debate where he and Erudite were arguing with Andrew.
I see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I don't think a ton of my content is to do with Destiny. Oh, I lost my queen again. God, am I like drunk or something? I know I'm not. 'Cause I haven't. I explicitly didn't buy anything. I'm just brain dead today.
Yeah.
No, I think I only engage with Destiny typically when I have a particular political issue with something he's doing.
Mm,
He hasn't done anything interesting to me in a long time, so I just haven't engaged in a little while.
mm. Would you say that in particular, that it is something similar to making content off of being an anti-fan? By the way, I don't see anything particularly wrong with that. Just to be very clear
Oh
about
yeah,
that, right? Because for example, I also question whether I should make my content after criticizing people like Vosh,
yeah,
where I should just make an entire series of videos where I would go, oh yeah, Vosh said this thing wrong, I should make a video off of that. Vosh said this thing wrong, so I'm going to make a video off of that and just farm like 30 minutes worth of content off of every single thing he said wrong
yeah.
and nitpick every single segment to death, right? But anybody can do that off of any kind of extremely large creator, right?
Sure.
Um, Now, what made you steer off of that, like in the first place?
Steer off of like just
Yeah,
not
yeah,
taking interest
because
in responding to Destiny.
yeah, because you mentioned that at some point you stopped making videos.
Oh, he just got boring.
Oh,
He was going onto like red pill panels and talking to manosphere types. I am garbage at
I
chess
see.
today, dear God. And I just don't care. It's incredibly boring subject matter for me. What I'm interested in talking about are things like like political goals, ethical stuff, maybe practical stuff. Like I don't really care for endless debates about whether or not women having multiple sex partners is some kind of great evil against men or something. I just don't care. The
Mm,
reason why I was engaging with Destiny pretty intensely a little bit last year was because we had an interaction after which we agreed to mutually investigate a claim he made during the conversation that there was a that professors were being fired left, right, and center from universities for not towing some progressive line, and so we agreed to go over
mm,
as many examples as he could dig up, and we did over the course of about 14 hours of streams, I think, if memory
Jesus.
serves, and he started to go over it a little bit. Seemed to realize that he didn't have much in the way of positive examples and ghosted from, and then continued to peddle that misinformation. So of course I took pretty serious issue with that. And then of course I had some issue with the Nick Fuentes plugging. I had issues with him making Mr. Girl's career viable. But I mean, recently it's just nothing that he does really concerns me or interests me at all. So I'm
Okay.
done. And so in answer to your question, no, I don't consider myself an anti-fan. Like I definitely benefited like one for a little while that was going on.
Mm.
I have no issue with that. I have no issue with people who do benefit from being in that position either. That's the business, but that's just not what I was doing. It was incidental.
I see. Gotcha.
Hmm.
Did you? So apparently, when I mentioned that I was going to reach out to you,
Yeah.
is that somebody said, "Oh my God, Cat." By the way, yeah. So my nickname is Cat, and everybody calls me Cat, right? But
Okay.
Cat, have you ever seen the President Run Day clip? And I was like, "What is the President Run Day clip?" And they show me that. And how long was that ago? Like a few
Oh, I
months
can't remember.
ago
Are you
or
talking about
something like that,
you're talking
right?
about the Brianna Wu panel?
Yeah. Oh wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Thank you for the raid. Thank you for the raid 44 dynamic. Oh my God, thank you. 26 viewers. Um,
Nice.
yeah, so
26
uh
new viewers, or is that the total?
26 viewers added. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, uh so I think that was actually pretty recent-ish, right? How do you now feel about that scenario? I don't want to know what happened. I don't want to know specifically about the scenario.
Okay.
Looking back on it, how do you feel about the situation? How do you feel about it now when you think about it?
Extremely indifferent. It was a really boring conversation. It was poorly moderated, and I'm completely indifferent to it. Nobody cares.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I see. Um, I think that I remember that you also talked about the you also participated a little bit in the Mr. Girl dilemma at some
Mr. Girl
point.
dilemma.
Yeah, whatever the hell that was. Even though you were contending with Destiny at the time, Mr. Girl went to you thinking that he was going to find an ally in you.
Did he?
Um,
That's strange because I've been pretty persistent in saying he should be deplatformed since his career started. That would be a bizarre error in judgment on his part. Maybe not. I guess it's Max, so that's pretty typical.
oh,
But
yeah.
yeah.
How do you feel about it now, thinking back to the Mr. Girl stuff?
Um, feel how do I feel about it in what respect? Like,
I don't know. Describe to me your feelings.
oh God, you're sounding like him. I have no I have no feelings about
Confused,
I have no feelings about that one way or
relieved,
the other. Neither. Neither. I feel
neither,
absolutely nothing. I don't think
just
about it at all.
emptiness, nihilistic.
Just emptiness. No, not nihilistic. A little bit hopeful with how that went down, but yeah, just not a whole lot to say about that one. Um, yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's okay. That's fine. Um, you wear a particular set of clothing whenever I find you in your videos.
You like them?
Do
They're
you
cozy.
do you take your fashion seriously?
Uh, I don't know how to answer that question. I like cardigans.
Do you so I feel like you're always wearing a bathrobe.
It's a cardigan. It's a cardigan. It's
It's a
like it's
cardigan.
like a sweater but fancier.
I see. Is that the only kind of clothing that you like wearing?
I also wear pants and I wear shirts.
Hmm. Do you wear a cardigan when you go to the supermarket?
I do, as a matter of fact.
Wow.
Not this month though. It's a little bit on the warm side. But soon it will be cardigan season again, and it will be glorious.
So is cardigan like a phase or is it like a lifelong?
it's less of a phase than my sexuality is, so I would say no.
I see. Um, Interesting. How would you say that you see your content creation career playing out? Do you have any creative endeavors that you're working on?
It's generous of you to call it a career. Um,
Yeah, you're making money from it. You're not, are you
True.
working like a separate job?
I am, um, but yeah, fair enough. What the hell? What am I supposed to do here? So I put okay. Yeah, guess I've lost again. Damn. How do I feel? I have no idea. So far it seems to be doing pretty well. It's pretty stable.
Mm,
Um, it could continue for a long time. It could fizzle out. I have no idea. Um, it's why it's really important to keep on working while you're doing this, so you don't have a massive gap if for whatever reason it all falls through, and it could. Like it's super stressful and exhausting. It's distinctly possible I burn out in a year or so.
I
I
see.
don't think I will. I like what I'm doing, but you never know.
Okay. All right, I see. Um, do you still dabble in drama content these days?
Not so much. Like I'll talk about like the Illuminati thing. I did a couple streams on. But I don't really regard that as drama per se. That's almost like real crime reality TV or something.
Okay.
Um, not really. Like the who are I keep forgetting his name. The Fusi person people are talking about. Like
Mm.
I'm never gonna cover anything related to that. Not unless he blows up a building or something. Um, so like that's yeah, no, not really.
So, whenever there is manufactured drama in Twitch poll, like hosting a panel on a particular person and the person is not there,
Hmm.
or anything related to a particular content creator whose name rhymes with Bud Bojic, all right? Um, that stuff is the kind of stuff you try to avoid.
Have there been panels about Chud Logic recently?
Um,
Have there ever been panels
no,
about Chud
no
Logic?
panels, no panels, but basically drama farming.
Uh, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm above that. Like I've engaged in that before. So I'm trying to think. Like and mostly just because it's fun. So like I don't know if you followed that whole stupid extreme dad thing on Chud Logic's channel a little while ago.
What?
It's dumb. We were combing through messages to determine if accusations of somebody uh, attempting to send sexual messages to minors or who they thought were minors could be reasonably believed to think were minors, if that was accurate or not.
I see.
Yeah. So it was just like it was some low stakes sleuthing, which was fun, but just kind of pointless and stupid at the end of the day.
Okay.
Hmm.
Um, there has been some recent discourse. I'm gonna steer this conversation another way.
All
There
right.
has been some recent. See, the way I'm handling questions, it's almost as if I planned everything. Um, there is some recent discourse in my community, at
Hmm.
least, with how you handle rhetoric and communication.
Okay.
Um, do you think that the way people use terms, once you use terms broadly enough, like you expand the definitions enough, that eventually a word becomes more meaningless?
Well, I mean, like the meanings of words are
I, yeah, I
sort
can
of
give you an example.
please go for it.
Yeah. So a lot of lefties online would call a particular person Nazis, right? Or incels. And while traditionally the word Nazis and incels would refer to, a pretty specific group of people,
Hmm.
eventually they're just using Nazis and incels to just simply refer to a right-wing person, right? Would you say that the broadening of this definition is a good thing, or is it effective for political action? Or do you think that it's like a bad thing?
I think it's kind of irrelevant. Like, if we're talking about people calling Republicans fascists in the way that somebody will say like you're Nazis, man, kind of thing when someone's endorsing some kind of authoritarian policy or something. God, I'm losing every single game. I should not be playing this at all.
That's okay.
That's not particularly serious or relevant. People calling people incels is basically just an insult now, and I don't think the actual
Mm.
incel community is important enough for us to treat that term as sacrosanct in some way. I think we're capable of switching gears and talking about the online community that actually identify as incels versus saying somebody has incel vibes when they're complaining about women being sluts or something. Like I don't think that's particularly crucial. The fascist thing annoys me a little bit because there is something more particular going on there,
Hmm.
and uh, two things happen when you play fast and loose with that language. The first is that people stop taking you seriously because it does stop having a specific referent, and it ends up
Hmm.
being just you may as well just be saying like double plus bad or something, and that's not particularly useful. Uh, and moreover, like while you can derive like fascist conclusions from a lot of conservative positions, there is a quite a world of difference in terms of how you communicate with somebody who actually has commitments that lead sort of explicitly to fascist ends, and somebody who is sort of taking a general conservative stance on some things, who you can perceive would lead to a situation that's not distinct from fascism or something of that flavor. But nonetheless, like they aren't motivated by hatred of other groups. They aren't motivated by, fear mongering about race mixing or sexual diversity or anything like that. And you can have conversations with those people, and calling them fascist is sort of it's an elevator to treating them as villains to be defeated as opposed to people to be spoken to. So I think that's unhelpful.
Mm.
But by the same token, like if you want to take the other route where you acknowledge that there's something intrinsically fascistic about any kind of sort of state anchored discourse, then you can find ways in which a lot of leftists as well would technically have fascistic tendencies at some level. So yeah, I just think being sloppy is not ideal under any circumstances. But when we're talking about random people using fascist as an insult, I don't think the stakes are particularly high.
Mm. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that so if people are playing fast and loose with the term incel,
Mm-hmm.
and then when we're referring to the actual community of incels, like the actual original definition of incels,
Mm-hmm.
should we continue to use the word incel or should we use a completely new word then?
I would just use the word incel. I don't think people are that confused when you switch keys. Like you can say, as we did in this conversation, just we're referring to the organization or the group that calls themselves incels. We're not using incel as an insult in this context. We're talking
Mm.
about a discrete, discrete selection of people. I think
Like the
that's easy enough.
context of the sentence will be able to define the word even though the word is spelled the same.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, I remember that when I reached out to you, I wanted to talk about political effectiveness. So I did by now I probably canvassed more than
Sorry, not
10
you.
times. No, don't worry about it. We're also playing a chess game, all right? You're playing two at the same time. So I probably have canvassed more than 10 times in real life at this point. Um, and there's always a particular way when we go out and talk to the common person on the street,
Mm-hmm.
and it's always in the nicest way possible. because it is simply just not effective to name call. It's not effective to shame them. It is
Mm-hmm.
not effective to use any of vitriolic words. However, when I go online,
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy. What's your thoughts on the way that online lefties use name calling and vitriolic words and try to justify, that this is effective and will wake people up?
Well,
And
I don't think when you're online, your goal is to reach people who are more or less disengaged, sitting in their homes, and trying to encourage them to vote for a particular thing that's sort of locally relevant. I think when you're online, assuming you're trying to do anything, because a lot of people aren't, they're just kind of ganging up on people they think are doing something important, trying to demoralize them. I don't think there are the same stakes. You don't really. It's very rare that you actually are in a position, either online or offline, to actually convince somebody of a position by argument. Typically, people need to have like a long chain of experiences or education in order to like seriously change their political perspectives on things.
Mhm.
So I'm once again I'm reasonably indifferent to it. Like I think it's just not the same kind of person you're engaging with when you canvas versus when you go online. A lot of people don't realize like how small the online politics sphere actually is. Certainly in the sphere in which we're operating, this is infinitesimal. Nobody in the real world knows about anybody here. The biggest channels are basically unknown to most people.
Yes,
So
yes.
yeah, so I don't think it particularly matters. I think the most frustrating thing about it is that when it gets directed internally, you have a lot of demoralization. You have people who are made resentful, and they can start to advocate for negative things in response to that. And we've seen that a couple of times. Sometimes people do that cynically without provocation, but sometimes people do it with provocation. I think that's a shame. So, like, it doesn't particularly matter. It's also not something you can fix. You can't. There's not like an online left or whatever organization with some kind of internal governing structure you can appeal to enforce some sort of norms of conduct. It's just something we have to live with.
I see. Um, would you say that yeah, it's interesting to hear this because when I'm talking to people in real life,
Hmm.
when you're bringing up complicated terms or like even just bringing up like words like capitalism or patriarchy or you're not even bringing them up in an aggressive manner. You're just seeing simply bringing them up. You can see the confusion on their face, like they don't know what you're talking about.
Hmm.
And then you have to substantiate that term afterwards. You don't even have time at the very end, right? So it just feels very empty. It feels very hollow. And then by that time, you're starting to lose them. So you might as well just say, hey, homeless people are ugly, right? You want to get rid of homeless people, right? Me too. Hey, vote for my politician. So yeah. Or it's really interesting because you almost have to appeal a little bit to their bigotry. And while you can argue that it feels morally wrong, it's effectively right. Do you think that is wrong?
Can you restate that?
Sure. Sometimes you have to appeal to people's bigotries. Um, and for example, right? And I'm not saying specifically about the homeless person example.
Uh huh.
Uh, like one example that I've heard is like a nurse had to talk to an anti-vax um parent. And
Yeah.
the parent basically started bringing up conspiracy theories about how the vax contained whatever and whatever and whatever, right? And didn't want to vax their kid. But then the doctor started arguing, started coming up with conspiracy theories back, like made up conspiracy theories on the spot to even big conspiracy theories. And eventually, these conspiracy theories won over the parent and tricked the parent into giving vaccinations to the child. Would you then say that that is moral?
Uh, I would not recommend that for the simple reason that now you've created a situation where someone is justified in losing faith in you as a doctor or as somebody who can be trusted to give true information. So in terms of I think like just just from a purely pragmatic standpoint, I think that's incredibly destructive.
Yeah.
Morally, I don't know. It depends what the stakes are. Like if we're talking about an individual case where you're trying to pressure someone into making a decision that will prevent some innocent person from dying. Like let's say some kid needs a blood transfusion and their parents are refusing it because they're Jehovah's Witnesses or something. Like I would judge on a case by case basis. But in terms of a general policy, like why don't you just like lie in order to outmaneuver some person who's been misinformed? I would never recommend that. I think that's incredibly dangerous.
Right, because once it gets disproved, then you won't trust the system altogether, right?
Well, it's not just you won't trust the system altogether. You've also like fed somebody false information as well that could harm them in some other way down the line. But I mean, moreover, like, what's this person going to do? They're going to talk about this with other people. They're going to learn very quickly that what you said has no basis in reality, and they're going to that's going to reinforce their previous beliefs, or make them less receptive to expert opinion elsewhere where they really need to heed it. So I would not advise that under any circumstances, really, unless there's like some super dire particular need to do that.
Yeah, by the way, I
Hmm.
want to clarify when I go out and canvas, when we go out and canvas, you know,
Yeah.
we don't actually appeal to their bigotry.
No, no,
Okay,
no.
yeah,
I,
I just want to
I, I, I
clarify
didn't.
that.
I
Yeah,
didn't think you
yeah,
did.
yeah.
Who
Um,
did you canvas with?
oh, wait, hold on. I'll type it out in DMs. Okay, all right. Um,
If,
but
if,
no,
if
no,
it's if it's sensitive, you don't need to tell me. It's fine.
no. It's no streamer. It's no streamer. I canvas locally on my
Okay,
own. Yeah, no, it's no streamer related, whatever the hell, you know.
gotcha.
Yeah. It's but I'll tell you what though, it is definitely, what's funny is that the reason why I canvassed in the first place was
Hmm.
because I felt like a loser. I felt like a loser watching these political streamers.
You felt
Um,
like a loser watching these political streamers. That seems to be uh, the the opposite of my takeaway from it. What? Why?
yeah. I was just before I became a content creator when I was in college,
Hmm.
and I was watching Destiny, um, because I watched Destiny in college and I was like, oh my God, I'm getting back into politics. I'm getting interested in politics again because of Destiny. I watched this JonTron debate and I was like, oh my God, this
Hmm.
guy's base as fuck. Um, and then I think I was like, holy crap. I met a bunch of other people, but they actually volunteered in politics, as in like they consume some online stuff,
Hmm.
but they didn't consume it as much as me. And I met this Vosh fan who was an area commissioner, apparently. Like, as in, this guy literally did urban planning, which is like the sickest thing ever, by the way. And he kept on talking about how he was fighting back against these NIMBYs, all right? And I was like, oh my God, I wish I did that kind of shit, all right? And he, by the way, he was also in like the um Dem Socks of America, all right? Um, and I was like, yo, you are doing more and you're a filthy socialist. I just can't stand for that. You know what I mean? I like that's unforgivable because I'm like a sock dem and like we're supposed to be more based than you because like you guys aren't supposed to be politically effective. You know what I mean? Like you guys are supposed to be terminally online lefties, right? So I felt that unforgivable and contradictory. You know what I mean? So I felt sad. And so then after when college was over,
Mm-hmm.
I hit up my friend. I was like, yo, we gotta do stuff outside of work. You know, I know we got like a 6-digit programming job, but like we gotta make our life fulfilling. You know what I mean? So he hit me up with like this local dude who was running for House Assembly member. And I started canvassing from that point onwards, and I made a rule. Whenever this one person tells me that there's a canvassing event going on, I would go no matter what. And I did. And to this day, whenever that person hits me up, I just go. So, and no matter what, I would always cancel whatever event I have on that day to go. So, yeah, eventually that added up to over 10 events of canvassing. And one time I nobody else was there except for me. And it was like really hot and all the mansions, like literal mansions or houses, were like on hills, and I had to like march, and everybody who answered the door was like, yo, why are you canvassing on this day? It's so hot. Why are you doing this? And I'm
Mm.
like, bro, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just canvassing, okay? And I'm like, well, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I felt good, you know, doing that stuff. And I don't even know what I was talking about. I was just like reading out the script, you know what I mean? But I definitely felt like I was doing much more than just watching Destiny or watching Vosh or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean?
Oh, if you're
And
going door to
now,
door and actually getting people to vote, I would say that's quite a bit more.
yeah, and now I'm doing content creation. So there you go. And now I'm a volunteer leader.
Cool. Why did
Yep.
why did watching streamers make you feel worthless? I'm confused. Or like a loser? What was the language used?
Bro, I was terminally online. I was like doom scrolling on Twitter, bro. I was like scrolling on Twitter and I was seeing like all these lefties like
Uh huh.
argue about incest. And I was like, and like pedophilia
Yeah, yeah.
and lolicon. And I was like, what am I doing with my life, bro? I was like, dude, oh my God. And then people
Oh,
were
I
like
gotcha. I
doing,
gotcha. Okay, so
yeah,
it was yeah.
people were doing the lefty infighting meme, right? And then people were doing lefty infighting about lefty infighting, and people were then lefty infighting about lefty infighting about lefty infighting, and then they were doing the recursive shit, you know what I mean? And then on the neoliberal side, people kept on arguing neoliberal argument on Twitter over and over again on Twitter. I felt like I wanted to Kermit. It was so bad. And so then yeah, anyway, that's about it. So that's why I wanted to do political activism because I was tired of it.
Fair enough.
Dude, Sunday, you have oh my God, Sunday, dude, oh my God, this is why like in real life social life is so important because like once you go out there and get like Korean barbecue with your friends or go to like a sushi conveyor belt place with like in real life friends, by the way, not online friends, in real life friends, you will understand just how good life actually is, and you will forget that the online life even exists. Like I will forget, like when I actually, by the way, whenever a friend hits me up on like in real life shit, I prioritize that number one. Okay, even though I have literally no free time these days. I have no free time these days because I edit videos like a motherfucker. Okay, I edit videos like a motherfucker. I pay my editor. Okay, I edit videos like a motherfucker. All right, because oh my God, I'm like literally a content machine. Okay,
If you pay your editor, why are you editing videos like a motherfucker? Doesn't that defeat the purpose?
I it gives me time to edit more videos
Okay, fair enough.
because in my backlog I have like so much videos. I might need to get like a second editor so I have 3 times the content
Oh,
to put
chat.
out.
I didn't ask this before. Chat wants to know what pronouns you use.
I use she her.
Okay, I figured. I just wanted to ask.
Why? Why? Do I look too androgynous? Is that why?
No, just a general policy. It's generally a good
I'm
idea
gonna
not
kick
to.
your chat's ass, okay? I'm gonna kick your chat's ass.
No, no, no.
What? Do
I'm
you want me to
pretty.
sound like this? Is that why?
No, I'm pretty strict about people being careful about that kind of thing on my channel. So,
Okay.
yeah, they'll ask anybody. I get asked, and like if people were to take a natural attitude towards me, it'd be pretty obvious what I would be identified as, and sometimes that's a
How
mistake. So
how's your chat reacting? Your chat is reacting like, who is this Destiny viewer? Who is this Destiny leech neoliberal?
the last message is Al Gore, upon inventing the internet, said, "I have become death, destroyer of words." I don't know what that
That,
means, but
that, well,
yeah.
dude, bro, okay. Sunday, do you recognize that sometimes you act like an anime villain?
I act like an anime villain.
Yeah, do you watch anime?
Oh, you think this is an act? This is not an act, my friend. This is just how I am.
Dude, okay. Sunday, do you know how you act? You act like this. You act like someone from Death Note, okay? You're like, I have calculated all of your next 23 moves in debate. Okay, I've got you now.
Maybe I have.
Oh, I have. You see, Foodshops. I know exactly what 23 questions you're gonna ask next. And then you close your book with like one hand. You're like cross leg, and you're like, throw book aside. Don't worry, I have memorized all of my notes. Is that not you?
Yeah. Yeah, that's accurate.
Sunday,
Guilty
Sunday,
as charged.
Sunday. Do you take fashion tips?
Do I take fashion tips?
Uh-huh.
I'm open-minded. What, you got a
What if,
suggestion?
okay, so a mod of mine said you like she is into people with elbow patches. Are you into girls?
I am from time to time into girls.
Okay. Are you into guys?
From time to time.
Okay.
My only love, though, at the end of the day, is books.
Okay. You wait. You you jack off into books?
I think the language would be two books.
So if a pansexual is into kitchenware, you
That was good. That was
you
funny, actually. You don't even need
you
to.
would be
You don't. That doesn't need a punchline. That was good.
okay.
Well done.
Okay. Okay. You are what is a Sunday? You God, dude, I forgot what question I was gonna ask. Oh my God, I had a question on mine Sunday. I literally had a question. Oh my God, I remember now. Sunday,
Yes.
do you remember Gamergate?
Oh, very vaguely.
How
What
old
was
are
that?
you?
I'm 32.
You're 32?
I know. I look good for my age. That's what I'm
Dude,
famous
you
for.
look like you're 47.
Do I? Good.
Yeah.
Good. I was worried I had a baby face. Thank God. Wouldn't be taken seriously.
Bro, okay. Okay. Um, what do you think of Gamergate?
I am incredibly indifferent to Gamergate. That's one episode I just did not care about at all. It's
If
so boring.
if somebody were to be obsessed with Gamergate to this day, what would you tell them?
We're obsessed with Gamergate to this day. What would I tell
To
them?
this day, what would you tell them?
Get a life, move on, go for a vacation, enjoy the sunshine.
Gotcha. Thank you. That's all I need. Okay.
All right.
Um, Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do in your free time when you're not streaming? And wait, what do you do for a job?
That is super private. If you ever
Oh,
find my
okay.
OnlyFans, I'll ask you to keep it to yourself. But just boring paperwork stuff.
Okay.
Nothing to write home about.
Okay. What do you do in your free time?
Mostly I'm just researching for essay work and whatnot. Not I don't really give myself a lot of free time.
Okay. I see.
I read, I go for walks.
All right. Do you have an editor for your channel?
I did have an editor for my channel. She's very good. She's sorting out life stuff at the moment.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I am in the market. So if you have any
I see.
suggestions.
Do you why are you not able to contact Brianna Wu?
Two reasons. First of all, because I really don't want to, and the second is she blocked me on Twitter. So,
Why?
uh, God only knows.
Okay, all right. Um, you, what do you define yourself politically?
Just very tired. So tired. Like you would not
Of what?
believe. Oh, just everything. I'm just.
Do you like capitalism?
Do I like capitalism?
Yeah.
I like some of the stuff that comes out of capitalism. I'm not a huge fan of the thing by itself. You
Why
know,
not?
like I would not have access to tremendous amounts of coffee from colonized lands without capitalism. That's
True.
something has to be said for that. Give the devil his due, but I'm not otherwise a massive fan. No.
Okay. Do you think that maybe there's some good that comes out of capitalism that you don't really find under stuff like socialism or communism?
Well, you can't have socialism without capitalism for a start.
Okay,
The general
that's fair.
understanding, and it may be historically naive. I'm not sure I agree with it, but the general understanding is that you need capitalism in order to give us the means of production and the types of social emancipation that make socialism even conceivable. So, like Marx doesn't demonize capitalism. Capitalism is a necessary part of the economic development of our species. It what enables us to engage in socialism at some level.
Okay.
So yeah,
Would you advocate for something like a planned economy?
I wouldn't generally advocate dogmatically for any of these things. I think they're whether or not they're appropriate or good is entirely dependent on the situation. I mean, I don't think I don't think there really are economies that aren't planned in the first place. But as like a general, it always depends on the situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like for example, if there's a economic crisis or a natural disaster, then
Hmm.
maybe a planned economy would be better for a temporary amount of time. Is that what you're saying?
Or alternatively, like if for whatever reason you were in a situation where you had a true tabula rasa and like we colonized the moon or something, there may be conditions under which a laissez-faire type situation might even be more just. One of the principal reasons why that's not the case is because that's not the situation we're in. All of our wealth is the result of some kind of deprivation of somebody else in an unjust manner. So it always depends.
Do you truly believe that it's some kind of zero-sum game that in order for someone to gain, somebody else has to lose?
Uh, no, no. I mean, there are lots of situations in which people gain mutually. Um, uh, yeah. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, finally, I won a game.
Would you describe yourself closer to being a socialist then?
No, not necessarily. I have a lot more sympathy for socialists than I do for advocates of capitalism today, mostly because advocates of capitalism are typically very naive and callous in how they go about it. Um, but I don't really sign off on anything. I'm pretty dogmatic about uh, being really careful about who I throw my lot in with, because when you identify as these things, there's a whole lot of baggage that comes with it. Um, I definitely have more truck with socialists than I do with a lot of people who identify as capitalists, but I would not say I'm a socialist on those grounds
Or a communist?
or a communist. But again,
Especially,
I have some level of admiration for a lot of communists. So
okay,
yeah,
but especially not people like Infrahaas, right?
Owen Verhaas, the warrior poet of the modern age, love him. He's fantastic. He's the real life Duncan Idaho.
That was ironic, right?
No, I'm dead serious. I never
Okay.
joke about Duncan Idaho.
Uh-huh. Um, you do you think that okay. What do you think about stuff like foreign policies and etc.
What
Right
do I
now going on in the world for stuff like the war on Ukraine?
what do I think?
I'm just curious.
That's super
That
general.
is
Super
especially the
general.
generally hold on. Especially like the I don't know, in general.
Just
Why
in
not?
general.
Yeah.
Well, I guess in the most general terms, I regard the invasion of Ukraine as a grossly callous and, to the extent that you can describe things at this scale as such, criminal act. I have no truck whatsoever with people who do apologetics for it. Certainly not on the grounds that it's anti-imperialist of all things. That doesn't mean you have. Doesn't mean you naively endorse the opposition in all respects. But in this particular case, I think it's pretty crystal clear what the greater of the two evils is. That would be the state that is bombing civilians in order to make a land grab.
Um, the lesser of two evils implying that Ukraine is evil.
No, the lesser of two evils being it is nonetheless true, regardless of how out to lunch apologists for Russia are, that yeah, NATO countries do bad things too, and they have engaged in colonizing acts. They have treated other countries unjustly, but it's neither here nor there when it comes to Ukraine, unfortunately.
Yeah, to be fair though, right? Ukraine isn't really a NATO country, right?
No, it's not. But the justification typically given for Russia's invasion of Ukraine is the threat of NATO encroachment. So that's what
Yeah,
I'm referring to there.
yeah, but the justification is not really founded, right? Because
I
Russia
agree.
has had their eyes set on Ukraine for some time.
Oh, I agree. As like a matter of course, like you can acknowledge that the parties that are being referred to as the justifying bugbear for the invasion of Ukraine, they also do bad things. It's sort of trivially obvious. But it's
Okay,
as I said, it's neither here nor there.
all right.
Yeah.
Um, what are you looking forward to these
What am I
days?
looking forward to?
Yeah, especially content creator wise.
Oh,
Like, do you have any big projects coming up?
complaining about Dune Part 2. Well, I'm finishing my critique of natural law video soon. I'm excited about that.
What is that?
Natural law is the idea that there is a partaking of the world of stuff, the physical world that comprises like you and me, animals, nature generally, etc. That partakes in some way in some kind of eternal God-given law, and that this, in some sense, grounds ethics and morality in a way that's more concrete than if these things are the product of just social mores and custom and whatnot. I'm doing a video essay. I've
Mm.
just published the rough draft of it on my Patreon. I'm doing a video essay, sort of critiquing that notion and pointing out ways in which it is epistemologically and metaphysically a little bit absurd.
Mm.
That's a patron request, so it's a very long overdue one. But I am excited that I am finally doing the thing I'm actually being paid for after all these months.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see. If you were to look back and look upon your earlier days of content creation,
hmm
um, what would you have done differently?
Um,
Or would you have not done anything differently because, tapestry and all that?
I think I probably. That's an interesting question. Um, I don't know if I can say I would do anything differently. Um, I think all things considered, I would probably uh, spend a lot less time trying to keep up with if when I'm beefing with somebody, for example. I would probably spend a
Mm-hmm.
lot less time focusing on that, and I'd probably spend a lot more time just self-improving and just carrying on and doing my work. I think I cause myself a tremendous amount of stress and exhaustion by trying to, like keep tabs on what people are saying about things. Like, for example, so if I make a critique of some other content creator like Academic Agent or Not So Erudite or whoever, in retrospect, I probably wouldn't spend so much time, uh, you know, playing the stupid. Uh, I don't know how to describe it. I just wouldn't spend a significant amount of time letting it occupy my attention. I would make the video and I would move on.
I see.
Yeah,
So looking back on the not so erudite stuff,
yeah.
how do you feel about it now?
In what respect? Like, do I regret or disagree with my previous positions, or am I like pleased with the outcome? Like, what?
Everything. Are you
Everything?
pleased? Are you regretful, or do you not regret it? Do you satisfied?
I
Time has
I
passed.
the time has passed. I regret once again like letting it occupy my attention. I think that was pretty exhausting. But I agree with pretty much all of my positions on it. I think her behavior recently has uh sort of made manifest a lot of the things I found issuesome with her.
Mm,
Um, Otherwise, like, I'm once again sorry to disappoint. Just pretty indifferent to the whole thing at this juncture.
yeah. At this
Yeah.
point, you're like, okay, this isn't worth pursuing anymore.
Essentially, there's nothing more to say. As far as anything that I would be interested in concerning it, it's concluded. Um, everything that I care about with respect to Not So Irritated has been said, and I find her and the entire issue just profoundly boring.
Okay. Um, what would it take you in the future to go on like a thing like that again? Or would you do everything in your power to avoid something like that again, just in case you might get mentally exhausted again from something like that?
Oh, I think I would probably avoid it. I think it was ultimately not a fruitful use of time. Um, I think it distracted from a lot of the work that I actually want to do, and I think it probably shaved years off my life in terms of the amount of stress, just because I took it more seriously than I should have. So I probably would generally avoid that. Like I'll criticize people and respond to them if something like that goes down, but I don't think I would dedicate that much time and attention to it again.
That's an admirable response. Introspection is really important. Um, uh, um, you in the future, would you say that you will be more committed to doing the content that you yourself are passionate about and less like doing stuff like hit pieces or stuff in general like that?
Well, I think they're part and parcel. I care about the stuff that I was criticizing Not So Erudite for, so those two go together. The same passion for my content generally is what motivated me to do that in the first place. But I would probably be a lot smarter about it if I was criticizing someone on those grounds, and I probably wouldn't go the direct route that I did, because I think that ended up being mentally costly for me in a way that I don't think was worth it in retrospect.
I see.
Yeah.
Um, Now a twist of mood.
Okay.
What was the happiest moment you ever had? When do you feel the happiest when it comes to content creation?
When I am done a video essay and I've published it, and I just turn everything off and walk away. It's the best feeling in the world.
And are you the kind of person who watch the numbers go up?
Numbers go up. I do. It's a political theory channel. I don't get numbers. um, uh,
Do you do it for
no.
the sake of passion then?
More or less. I mean, and money. Like it does pay the bills. I get to do what I enjoy. So like, what makes that what I enjoy is my passion for the subject matter. But it also gives me security. It gives me a level of freedom. Like I get to do something for work where I'm not distracted from like studying and doing the kind of thing that I enjoy generally. So like the reason why I would be hesitant to sign off on the passion logic is just because I also do benefit from it additionally. And typically when we say it's because of the passion, you're justifying a sacrifice. But I wouldn't characterize my doing this as in any way sacrificing anything on my end. It's pretty beneficial in a selfish way. So yeah.
I see. If you had no um monetary incentive,
hmm
no audience incentive, would you still be doing the same thing,
I was doing the
do you
same thing.
think?
That's why I think I'm good at what I do because I would do this anyways. Um, yeah, that's like I'd probably try to do it in a university setting. Um,
Oh,
if there was no way to monetize this and there was no financial incentive to keep doing it here, then this would not be viable. Like I do rely on because it's a time thing. It takes a tremendous amount of time to do this, and if there's no way
I
to
get that.
if there's no way to pay for it, then I have to pay for it somewhere else. And the university is one way people do that because they do aggregate funds, they do fund research and things like that. It's a lot more competitive.
Mm.
Well, it kind of depends on who you are and what you're doing. But it's yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I would necessarily do as much of what I do on here specifically, but I would still be doing it in some capacity. I think one of the reasons why people um, pay me money for my video essays and for my commentary and whatnot is that I do take the stuff seriously regardless, and I try to apply the same kind of rigor and care that I would in like a dissertation or something to like the stuff that I do here. So like when I do video essays on something like this natural law stuff, I'll spend months like reading the material and actually upgrading my knowledge base in order to do something well and hopefully like not completely redundant to something else. And I'll try to make it positively useful besides just fulfilling some nerd wish on behalf of whoever is funding it. But
Mm. So this is almost like a higher calling for you, rather
uh,
than a certain, not a higher calling, but a spiritual calling, rather than something to be exploited for cash only.
I think I get what you're saying. I definitely do it like for the enjoyment of it by itself. I'm not like cynical about it. Um, but I don't think it's necessarily sacred either. I don't have an issue with people making money off of this or doing it for money, so long as they're not doing a bad job. Um, like yeah, yeah. Like, there are people like I mean, teaching is a profession. People do it for money. Some like professors in my field can make a lot of money if they're good at it or if they're well situated, or whatever, and that's perfectly fine. Um, but yeah, I would take an interest in this subject matter regardless of my financial situation. This is the kind of thing I'd do a lot less of it because I'd have to work, and I used to do a lot less of it. Before the channel was financially viable and could support itself, I would come on a stream just absolutely exhausted, just because I'd be working out in like the rain all day, and I would come in and I'd be like, okay, now I'm gonna try and read a thing, and I'm just dying. I looked really sick actually a year and a half ago when I was streaming, because I was.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I don't think there are any conditions under which I would stop doing this. Life would be too boring.
Yeah, so this would be the most fulfilling thing in your entire life so far.
I don't know about that, but it's definitely important.
What would be more fulfilling?
Like family relationship stuff, the usual.
Okay, so this would be still up there, but not probably the most. It would be contending.
It'd be contending. It's important to me.
I see. Would you in the future, you know, you have some burnt bridges, I'm sure, over time and
I have a few.
etc.
I have a couple.
If you have the chance to, would you
Excuse me.
fix these burnt bridges?
God no. Let me think about it. Are there any burnt bridges I want back?
Not one back, but
Uh,
circumstance allowing,
Well,
time passing.
yeah. Okay. Well, how about this? Were there any? Are there any rebuilt bridges I wouldn't reject? Um, no, I can't actually think of any to be honest. Most of the bridges I've burnt were not great bridges. Did not like those bridges very much. Um,
Does Destiny count as a burnt bridge?
I don't think there was ever a bridge to Destiny. I
Huh,
I I I, I think my only interactions with Destiny have been contentious. Um,
true.
yeah, no. I also don't respect what Destiny does. I think he's an extremely disingenuous, cynical person, and I think he's been responsible for making the careers of some extremely disingenuous and I would say pernicious people viable. Mr. Girl is a particular concern. Um, and I don't really have any truck with him, and I don't really want to engage with him any more than is absolutely necessary. I just find him incredibly distasteful. Um, I can't really think of anybody else off the top of my head who I'd want to rebuild a bridge with. Um, like in all likelihood, the only ones I would want to rebuild are probably some like small, maybe not even channel producers, just people I've had good conversations with while I've been here, who I had misunderstandings with over like contentions with people like Keffels or whatever, and that would be frustrating. Um, yeah, I don't tend to burn a ton of bridges myself. I'll criticize people pretty frequently, but if I have connections with people, then more often than not, I'll approach them privately before I go public with a disagreement if I think it's something worth addressing in public. Um, yeah, yeah. Oh, hey, Eudaimonia, how you doing?
Are you are you asking someone in chat?
I was sorry, I'm asking someone in chat.
Oh. Um, okay. I
How about you? What are your goals with your channel? What are you trying to do?
me?
Yeah, like
Um,
I don't even know what kind of content you do. What do you do typically?
I do. If there was a food shop's iceberg of secrets, and the meme iceberg, and all the way at the bottom is how I started my content would be the worst. And then as we move towards the top would be just general discussions, debates. It's actually a very large variety of content, all the way from debates, discussions. I also have like a group of orbiters that swap in and out constantly. And you might be wondering, dude, you only have 400 subscribers. Why the hell do you have a group of orbiters? Um, I have no idea either. So that's a good question. And they constant.
You do panel shows, so that's normal. I mean, Wick has orbiters. He's got like 4,000 subscribers. I've got a couple channels. Not sure I would call them orbiters, but they're a little bit tethered to my community. So yeah,
Uh, wait. Panel shows. You said I do panel shows?
yeah, don't you? Or am I
I
mistaken?
wouldn't I wouldn't call them panel shows, but it's more like one person joins, say some shit, and then 50 people join, and then they're like, "You're so fucking wrong," and then it just turns into a shit show.
Oh, so you
But
just
then
have like
these
you just
days,
have big Discord group chats on stream.
yeah, but these days
Gotcha.
I try to curate them because I'm trying to have higher quality, productive conversations.
Hmm.
So, I try to limit people into the waiting room now. So yeah, I'm trying to have higher quality ones if I want to post them on YouTube. But now, like, but especially if it turns into a shit show, I'm never posting that on YouTube ever. You know what I mean? Ever. I would post something like this on YouTube, but not that. Uh, After all, the backlog is already too much. So yes, typically what my highest quality content
Hmm.
would be me reaching out to people like Dylan Burns and Brianna Wu and etc. and then having talks with them. And then after I have talks with them, I try to scope out where our primary disagreements are. And then later on, I would try to have another talk with them, except the talk isn't really a talk, it's more of a debate.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. And I consider myself an adequate debater. I wouldn't consider myself a debate master.
I saw you
Um
on I think I saw you briefly on a panel a little couple days ago. I think you did decently on that.
oh, you're talking about the one with Symphon.
Yeah, maybe. I can't really recall the details at all, but I remember so I was watching because you had said at that point you wanted to chat. I think you did fine. You got good delivery. You got good presence. You seem to be coherent. So
The
I'd say you're okay.
the thing is I don't like being on panels mainly because I don't find them to be productive whatsoever. I hate panels. I'm gonna be honest with you. I totally hate
Hmm.
panels. Um it's only as a way for me to fill up the time. At first, I thought I loved panels in a way that they're chaotic and stuff, but I felt like they worn out super quickly. Um,
I
but
think you can have structured panels that are decent. I think the problem though is that people try to use it as sort of a fast track to generating drama content, and that gets
yes,
boring really fast because at the end it ends up very quickly being just a big vicious circle where it's the same characters just having the same back and forth endlessly, and nobody's creative enough to come up with topics. So it's just like I don't know. It's a dry week. What's Wick gonna do? Oh, here there's somebody on Twitter who is indicating they're having sexual relations with their pets. Let's have 7 people discuss this for 2 hours. It's like,
dude, you got it. That's
yeah,
literally the entire meme. Okay, so recently the Republican topic was like, should we invade Mexico with drones and US soldiers and tanks
yeah, I
and
read
shit?
about
And
that.
then he scheduled that topic, and I was like, I was invited on, and I felt like it was like one of the biggest wastes of my time, like literally ever.
Or
Like
did
I
you go?
felt
Did
like,
you did you go on that?
yes, but like, okay, I'm sorry. I
I
love
mean,
you, Wick. I love you,
I
Wick. But like, I was like, I felt like it was so. I'm sorry. I just felt like I felt bored. I was just bored. That's it. You know what I mean?
well, I mean,
I love Wick
if
though,
you
but
got someone who's endorsing invading Mexico, I mean, that's funny enough to. I'd
four
be curious.
people. There's 3 people endorsing invading Mexico. Three.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Crazy.
I'll have to give that a look. It'd be like
Um,
here's the thing. Like, it would be fantastic if the really kooky ones like that really had these elaborate justifications for it, so you could have it'd be interesting at the very least. But typically, it amounts to they have no idea what they're doing. They're just taking a position so they can get onto the panel like this is their big break,
yeah.
and
Do you,
it's
do you
so dull.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
but but at first it's interesting, but then when it drags out to 2 hours long, then it gets boring after 15 minutes is over. Because I'm gonna tell you why, okay? Because after the first cookie person,
Mm-hmm.
is that okay to say cookie? But after
Kookie's
the
fine.
first cookie, yeah, after the first cookie person says, "Oh my God, I'm gonna get my B-52 bombers and glass all the villages," and then everyone goes, "Ha ha 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 ha," and then 15 minutes is over, and then he says, "I'm gonna get all the tanks and roll over all the children," and everyone's like that's it. That's it for the entire 2 hours. Is saying the same thing over and over again for like 2 hours. It's boring. Like, okay, I get it. You want to roll over all the villages. It's like, okay, like, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense, but that's it. Like, you just want to be
It
edgy.
doesn't. It
That's it.
doesn't. It doesn't. But I get you. Um. No. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about, or?
No, there's nothing else to talk about. My content is just that. And yeah, can you plug in where can people find you? Yeah.
Oh, me? I can be found at President Sunday, on YouTube and on Twitter. I recommend the YouTube over the Twitter. Uh, Go ahead yourself. Where can you be found?
Yes. Find me on a Foodshops for YouTube, and you can find me on kick.com/foodshops. And join my Discord if you want any kind of conversation or discourse.
And you're talking to Brianna Wu tomorrow. What's that about?
I just want to interview her. That's it. But also, it also brought up somehow the short ass Gamergate arc that I want to finish as fast as possible on my community.
Gamergate
All right.
arc.
Yeah, apparently one of my orbiters turns out to be like one of the biggest Gamergaters from back in the day as well. Like coincidentally. Like why? So wait, actually that's why I asked you that question, by the way. So, yep,
I kind of connected the dots. It's okay.
yep,
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you. You have a good night. Nice to meet you.
yes.
I'll see you around.
All right, see ya. Bye.
Cheerio. Well, that was weird. Eudaimonia says, if someone assigns me a funny enough position, I will argue it. Italian chandelier. Google it. All right. What are we going to do for the next? Well, it's already 8:48 p.m. I think I'll call it tonight. We're gonna do a more proper stream on Friday. Um, and I'm feeling a little bit better than yesterday, so we'll have more regular streams soon. This was sort of an obligation. I had been I had been asked to chat with Foodshops a little while ago, and then I got COVID, so that kind of fell through. Anywho, I'm going to see if people have heeded my request to give me redirect perms so I can send you somewhere. Let's see who's on right now. Is Demon Mama streaming tonight? Nope. Is Vosh streaming tonight? No, he's not. God damn it. Alright, I'm sending you to Zanya. Complain to your favorite lefty streamers if you want me to send you to them after stream, because all of them have their frickin' perms turned off. Arrivederci.